We are live for another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today we're going to be breaking down UFC Vegas 113, I believe it is. And it's a pretty good card. It's not my favorite card in the world, and it's pretty tricky to bet on it. Not all these fights are pretty clear. Some of them are closely lined, and it makes sense. And yeah, I've already got a couple bets down. If you want my bets, my notes, my breakdowns, as always, you can only get those at the House of Stims Discord. Link in the description of this video. I'm going to try to keep this shorter than usual because I am still sick from last week. If you guys tried to tune into the panel, I unfortunately missed it. I was sick and I still am sick. So I'm going to try to keep it a little bit shorter. Throat's still hurting a bit. And yeah, we'll do a quick recap. We'll jump into the card. Make sure to hop in the chat. Talk to me. Always way more fun that way. We have my guy Michael in here. What's up, Michael? Lockdog via cardio. We will talk about that when we get there to the main event. And I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to touch on before we start. No, I think that's it. Let's recap real quick. So last week we had UFC 325. We did profit. I ended up taking home plus 2.93 units. The money lines were the money maker for the most part. We had Dan Hooker money line plus 270 for a half unit. Honestly, I don't hate that bet at all. He looked fantastic in the first round. It was pick'em going into the second round. He was looking good in the second round. And then the idiot tries to go for a throw, ends up on bottom and gets destroyed. But I think that was a great bet. I would make that bet again. I had Con Ofli plus 180 for a unit. Look, I don't agree with the decision. I think it should have been a draw. I thought Ofli did win round 3. I thought Ofli did win round 1. I thought it should have been a draw. I don't really see how you can score the fight for Ofli because I really thought round 2 was a 10-8. So I think it should have been a draw, but I'm not a judge. I made the bet, and at plus 180, I think it was a good bet, and it's a bet I would make again. He fought close, and that's what you need from a plus 180, and he did end up getting the win, deserved or not. After that, I had Sang-Uk Kim plus 140 for a unit. He just didn't do enough. I think I thought he was better than he really was, and that means I had a bad read there. So that was a bad bet. And then I had Mauricio Hufi minus 107 to win 1 unit. That was nice. The first round got me a little bit nervous. I thought it was close, but I thought Fiziev took it. And then Hufi knocked him out, and that was really nice. I also had Nakamura by decision for a quarter unit. Round 3 starts. I'm like, okay, Soleil got this. He's cooking him. And then Nakamura gets the knockout. I don't cash either way, but it is what it is. And then the last bet, I had Volk by decision plus 188 for a unit. I was getting nervous because everybody I know, it was on Diego. Everybody I respect was on Diego. People I didn't respect, everybody was on Diego. And I got a little bit nervous, but I really taped it. I decided to stick with my read, and Volk pulled through. He got that decision again. It's relatively easy. He did it easier than the first time, and he looked great doing it. So that felt like a nice cash, and hopefully we can do it again. As my guy Drinking No Things is saying, what's up, my brother? Good to see you in here. And all right, so let's jump into the card. That means I have to pull it up. Okay. And there we go. All right, we got Priscila Cachoeira versus Klaudia Sygula. Priscilla, she's going to be 13-7-0, 37 years old, 5'7" with a 65-inch reach. On the other side, Sygula, 7-2-0. She's 27. She's 10 years younger, same height, and she's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. So I was really, really tempted on Priscilla here. I was thinking about it, and I am still kind of thinking about it just because, like, Sygula, in my opinion, she's still very green. I think that she does have potential. She's only 27 years old. She's at a good camp. She's already a good striker. It's just, first off, I'm not sold that she should be a bantamweight. I feel like she just does not have the physicality or the power for it. So that is a concern of mine. I think she needs to figure that out, either move down or really muscle up a bit. And the other thing is, like, obviously her grappling is deficient, but that doesn't really matter here. What is Priscilla going to do? Shoot a takedown? If anything, Sygula will get takedowns here, I think. And I just still think she's green in most aspects of the fight. And I feel like if you really bring it to her and you pressure her and you take away the kicking space, you can break her. And I do think that Priscila can do that. I think Priscila, she's only got a couple moves. It's a jab, a couple kicks, and just that right hand that she'll go over and over and over again. And then the uppercut. The uppercut's actually pretty nice. But she's so hittable. She's extremely hittable. She's always relied on her durability. That's worked for her up until the Jocelyn Edwards fight. Edwards knocks her out with a clean combo or counter. And, now the chin might be cracked. Now we don't know. Now we don't know if we can rely on the durability. And if she can't do that, then she might be done completely because she has no defense and she has no grappling if she's like rocked or anything to bring the fight somewhere where she's more comfortable and where she's not getting hit. So I am really thinking about it, but I'm just unsure because it's like who's way more likely to come in and be improving every fight? It's Sygula. She did look better against Alexieva, but at the same time, like Alexieva did absolutely nothing. She kind of just stood there, and like to an extent, she tried to pressure, but I think Priscila will actually do what Alexieva probably should have been doing, which is backing her up, throwing big shots, and just doing it over and over again until she cracks her. Because I think she does need to crack her. I don't think that. Like, I do think she can win a decision. I don't think she's KO or bust. I do think she can win a damage-based decision where she's kind of just overwhelming Sygula. I just also think that if she is doing that, she's probably going to get Sygula out of there. Sygula doesn't seem like the most durable to me, and that she doesn't seem like she can really take a great punch. But I'm not really dying to play Priscila plus 125, I guess. Like, I would need a better number. I'll retape it. I taped this one today pretty in depth, but I came away from it not super confident on a Priscila shot. I do think it's dog or pass. You will not catch me laying the chalk on Sygula, but I'm gonna pick her as the official pick, just because like if anybody does grapple, it's her. If Priscila doesn't fight smart, which she pretty much never does, and she doesn't follow a game plan, which she pretty much never does, I think Sygula could maintain the distance and she could just outpoint her, and I think that's probably what she's gonna do. The small cage does probably favor Priscila. I'm going to be talking about that small cage a lot tonight, but I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I think it's a pick 'em fight. I think it's dog or pass, but I'm going to go with Sygula just for a pick. Next up, we have Muin Gafurov versus Jakub Wiklacz. Gafurov, he's going to be 26-0. He's 29, 5'7" with the 68-inch reach. Wiklacz, 17, 3-2. 29 years old. They're the same age. He's 2 years taller, though, as Wiklacz, and he's going to have a 4-inch reach advantage. My guy Pepe in the chat, Priscila, cash money this weekend. Okay, sounds like Pepe might be involved. Yeah, my guy JB, smash the like button. Listen to JB. He's a smart guy. All right, so for this fight, I was watching back the Wiklacz-Patchy mix fight. First of all, I don't think Patchy lost that fight. I do think that he should have gotten the dub, but it's just so crazy. Like, I was never part of the camp that thought he was like the best bantamweight in the world when he was over in PFL Tour, but I did think that he would be ranked. I did think that he could compete in the UFC. I certainly didn't think he'd go 0-2 and get cut. Now, he probably got cut not so much because like, oh, the UFC is like, oh, you have no chances. I mean, usually people get at least 3 losses unless they fight really boring, which he kind of did. But I think the bigger problem is he was getting paid a lot of money on the contract, and they just couldn't keep doing it because it didn't make sense because he wasn't winning, and he lost to Wiklacz, who is a good fighter, but most people don't know. So they had to get rid of him, and it's so crazy to me that Patchy lost to him because I'm watching Jakub, and like he's solid. He's a solid fighter. On the feet, he's okay. Doesn't really use his hands much, not much in terms of boxing, but the kicks are good, and he's got a lot of them. Throw them to all the targets. He's got good body kicks. His jiu-jitsu is good, but it's like he doesn't even really wrestle all that well. He's a decent wrestler. He's a good scrambler. Once he's on top, he's dangerous. He's dangerous off his back too. He can reverse position. He's a good scrambler, and he's got good front chokes, good guillotines, but he's not like an amazing wrestler. He's not an amazing control guy, and he's not a great striker. And then Gafurov, if you've been following me for a long time, you know I have never liked the guy. I've never been high on him, and I faded him multiple times, and I don't think I've ever bet on him, but I do think he should win this fight. I really do. Outside of him running into like a front choke like he did against Saeed, which I don't think he will, because he's learned since then. He is still 29. He's improving, and he is training at a good camp with good guys in Syndicate for the grappling. And I also just don't think Wiklacz has the same front chokes as Saeed. Like Saeed has those real nice, and Muin just ran right into one. And I don't really think that's going to be the same threat. So if Muin does choose to wrestle here, which he should not, but if he does, I do think he can get on top. I do think he can get control time. I do think he can ground and pound. and I do think he can avoid the guillotine or any chokes. I would just be nervous about him getting reversed and giving Jakub exactly what he needs, because Jakub doesn't really have the takedown defense to take Muin down. I mean, the wrestling to take down Muin himself. Muin's takedown defense is like okay. I don't think it's bad. I actually think it's pretty good. But if you take him down in the center, he really struggles to get back up. Now it's smaller cage, less of a center. That's good for him. And again, he's fighting a guy who isn't really that great of a wrestler, so I'm not super worried about that part for him. And I just think he's the better striker. Like I think most of us can agree that he's the better striker. Definitely has the better hands. He's got power behind those hands. He doesn't throw a ton of output. I would like if he threw more, but he does. But he is a good striker. I do think he's going to hit a lot harder. I think he's going to be a lot more effective on the feet, a lot more effective in boxing range. And I think there's a good chance that he can get Jakub out of there with a knockout. Or if not, I think he's going to win a decision just based off of damage, winning the minutes on the feet, keeping it on the feet, and hopefully fighting smart. I could see a world like my guy SWAT MMA is saying where kind of messes up. I can definitely see that. I've never liked to bet on him for a reason, but I do think that this is a spot where he really should get it done. All right, next up we've got Cong Wang versus Eduarda Moura. Wang, she's going to be 8-1-0, 33 years old, 5'6" with a 66-inch reach. Moura, 12-1-0. She's 31. She's 2 years younger. She's going to be the same height, and she's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. This is one of the only fights that I didn't tape. I've been taping nonstop for this whole start of the week. I have not taped this one yet. Didn't get to it just because I don't know that I'm going to get on a bet for it. Like pre-tape, my gut reaction, and if you guys know me, you can probably already predict what my gut reaction is. It was that Moura plus 260, like, let's go, grappling upside, strong, physical against Cong Wang, who I think is still extremely untested on the ground. But I also do remember enough to know that, like, Moura's wrestling isn't the best in the world. And I do think that she might struggle to get Cong Wang down. I think she will struggle to get Cong Wang down. And I think even when she does get her down, she's probably going to struggle to keep her there. And on the feet, it's not even close. Cong Wang, way better, way cleaner, way faster, way more power. I think she's the more athletic fighter. So I'm going to lean Cong Wang for now. I don't think that's going to change even after tape. I might end up getting to a bet after tape. That's possible. It is dog or pass. You won't see me laying minus 300 on Cong. One of my proudest moments was finally cashing here. I hit the Gabriela Fernandez bet. That was nice. But, like, yeah, she submitted her, but it was also because she rocked her first, and I don't think Moura's going to rock her first. She's going to have to submit her straight or just control her the whole fight, and I think that's going to be a tough ask. So pre-tape, we're going Cong Wang, but I'm not going to waste time because that's the only fight I really haven't taped yet. Now this fight, we got Nurmagomedov versus Javid Basharat. Nurmagomedov, 18-5-0, 33 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Basharat, 14-2-0, 30 years old. He's 3 years younger. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So Basharat so far been pretty popular this week. Been seeing a lot of bets on him on Twitter, everywhere. A lot of love on him, and understandably so. I mean, it makes sense if you just look at it on paper. Saeed has struggled with grapplers. He did just lose to Bryce Mitchell by being grappled in a fight where he was able to hurt Bryce too. I believe it was a knee that he got him with. But, like, I get it. On paper, he can be grappled. He can be controlled. He does have bad cardio. That's just a fact. And Basharat has good cardio. Basharat has good wrestling. So he does have the tools to win this fight. And I've been going back and forth with myself. This is the one fight I want to retape and look at again later in the week after I rest a little bit. Now that I finished just about the whole card, I got to do Cong Wang and Moura, and then I'm going to do this one. But I'm not really sure where I stand right now. I'll be completely honest. Like, on the feet, right? I do think that Javid can compete on the feet. I think Saeed is slick. I think that he's being discredited a little bit. I do think he's a slick striker. I do think he's very fast. I do think he sets up his angles really nicely. I think that his hands are very good. He just doesn't use them. He rarely uses them. When he does, you see that they're clean, straight down the pipe, fast, accurate. And I do think he has good hands. He just doesn't use them enough. He's primarily a kicker. He's very good at it. He can kick from either stance. It doesn't matter if it's the lead leg or the back leg. It doesn't matter if it's an inside leg kick, outside leg kick, body kick, liver kick, head kicks, all of them. He's really nice with it. And with the way Javid is, I just feel like when they're striking and Javid's chin is up high like this, I do think Saeed can touch him. I think he can touch him with kicks. It could be a front kick up the middle. It could be a head kick. It could be his hands if he decides to use them. When he does, again, they're very nice in my opinion. So I do think he can catch Javid. I do think he can take advantage a little bit of his chin up in the air. And I don't really know that Javid's going to be the kind of guy to crowd the kicker. I just don't really see that as much from him. I don't see, like, you look at Oliveira, who we're going to talk about later, right? When he beat Saeed, he broke Saeed. He completely exhausted him. And part of it was he was throwing heat his way and constantly pressuring him, not giving him any space. And he was just on the back foot, just going backwards, avoiding huge shots. And I'm not really seeing that from Basharat. So I don't know that Basharat is going to crowd the kicker. I don't know if he's going to take away the weapons as much as he should. I don't know that he's going to be able to pressure him and make him uncomfortable and tire him as much as someone like Oliveira did. And who said it here? I don't know that Javid's as good of a grappler as Bryce. Like, yeah, I really don't. I don't think that he is. Like, I think his wrestling's fine. His wrestling's pretty good. Taking down Gravely like the way he did was pretty impressive. I wasn't super impressed by the Mendoza fight. I think it was a little bit of a problem that he couldn't take down Zahabi even once. Like, Zahabi's clearly good, but he probably should have taken him down at least once or twice. He couldn't get any on the 4 attempts that he had. But I don't think he has to be as good of a grappler as Bryce. Like, I still think he can take down Saeed. I don't think it takes all that much. You just have to avoid the front chokes. And I do think that Javid is smart enough of a grappler and educated enough of a grappler to avoid those front chokes. So I don't think that's going to be a huge dilemma. So he's probably going to get some of those takedowns once he tracks Saeed, smaller cage. So that on one hand, that'll hurt Saeed. On the other hand, I think the small cage does help him a little bit because when Saeed gets taken down, he's bad off of his back if he doesn't have the cage. If he's in the center, if he's far from the cage, he can't scoot there, then he really struggles, then he gets really stuck. But if he's against the cage, then he pops back up pretty quickly, and pretty much nobody keeps him down against it. So I think in that way, the small cage will benefit him. So overall, it's just really tricky for me. Like, I think Saeed's probably going to win round 1. I think Saeed is the one who's more likely for a finish, whether that's a knockout or a submission. But I think Basharat has a clear path with the grappling if he can get on top and keep Saeed there. I'm just also not sold on his control. Like, who is he really controlling? He didn't even control Mendoza that much. He controlled Gravely to an extent, but like even then, he didn't get a ton of control time from what I remember. And he didn't take down Zahabi and he didn't take down Ricky. So for me, it's like I'm not even the guy in Contender Series. Yeah, he took down and destroyed, but that guy stinks. So yeah, it's just hard for me. I think I'm gonna pick Javid in terms of a pick. We're gonna go Javid decision, but I can definitely see a couple of ways here where Saeed wins. I don't think that a Saeed decision is out of question. He just has to survive that 3rd round if he banks the first 2. And I don't think that a finish is out of the question for Saeed either. I think he's the one with the finishing upside. So I don't really know if I'm going to do anything with this fight. I'm probably just going to leave it alone because I just have a weird feeling about it, but we'll see. I'm going to retape this one later in the week. It's the number 1 fight I want to look back at, and it was one of the first ones I taped. But let me catch up with the chat, and then we're going to get out of here. I mean, we'll move on. We're not getting out of here yet. Pick'em saying Javid can't grapple like Bryce. Saeed versus Javid, battle of the frauds. I don't think so. SWAT saying Eileen Saeed. That's fair. That's fair. He does have really good kicks. I just wish he used his hands more. The gas tank of Saeed is my only worry. That's true. That's definitely a worry. What up, Glenn? My guy. Saeed nearly put out Bryce bad a few times. He did, but Bryce was also completely drained. Bryce came down from 145 and he was definitely drained, which on one hand, it's impressive that I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I think him almost putting Bryce out a couple of times definitely had to do with Bryce being drained coming down in weight. 10 pounds is a lot. Saeed for AJ's MMA. What's up, my guy? Waiting to see how Saeed looks at weigh-ins. That's a good point too. Saeed at plus 120. Yeah, I mean, he's not the better brother, but he might not have to be to win this one. And I don't think it's super worrying that Ricky chinned him. Like, Ricky does hit hard, and he just caught him flush. Like, he put him out with the straight, and it is what it is. Is there a side you usually lean towards in this kind of structure versus creativity fights? I mean, I don't know what you mean about structure versus creativity, but generally, if we're looking at striker versus grappler, close line where one has an advantage in one thing, the other has an advantage in the other, I'll usually lean towards the grappler if everything else is kind of similar, and I do think everything else here is similar. And I guess a big thing for me is like, yeah, Javid has the big grappling advantage, but Javid can compete on the feet. You know, Saeed will probably be winning on the feet, or at least early is better on the feet. But Javid should be able to compete, and then on the ground he should have a significant advantage. So that's kind of what it's coming down to for me. And we're gonna go Basharat decision, but probably no bet. All right. Next up, we've got Bruna Brazil versus Ketlen Souza. Bruna, she's going to be 11-5-1, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 65-inch reach. Souza, 15-6-0. She's going to be 30. She's 2 years younger. She's going to be 3 inches shorter, and she's got a 2.5-inch reach disadvantage. I've lost so much money on Bruna Brazil in the past, and I might do it again. We'll see. This is a fight where I started taping it right before the show. I did not finish it. I got through most of Bruna Brazil's tape, but I haven't been able to get mostly to Souza. Souza, I remember I had her against Piero Rodriguez, and I remember being super aggravated because, yes, she was getting taken down, but it was a fight where she did have a lot of success on the feet, but there were times where she was getting taken down because of her own mistakes, and that's one of my problems with her is I think her fight IQ is pretty poor. Now, Bruna Brazil also has pretty poor fight IQ and a lack of urgency, so at least Ketlen has that over her because Ketlen is quite urgent. She comes out there looking to finish. She does hit really hard. She is very aggressive. She does have a lot of weapons. She's got a good teep kick. So the power and the aggressiveness are going to go to her. Who's more likely to do more? Her. And, you know, smaller cage, that's going to hurt Bruna because Bruna does need her footwork. She does use it a lot. Ketlen, more of a plotty pressure moving forward kind of fighter. So the small cage will probably favor Ketlen. And if she's going to win this fight, she's going to have to crowd the kicker, cut the cage, take away the space, and just land her big shots. And I do think she can do that. I think that the sub at plus 2,000 could be something. Maybe, because Bruna Brazil will shoot at times. And if she shoots a sloppy takedown, maybe we get a front choke. But at the same time, I am pretty tempted on Bruna Brazil. I do think that she can win this fight. Even with the small cage, like, I still think her movement can give Souza problems. I think at range, she's a better striker. I think she's the cleaner, more technical striker. I think she has better kicks. I think her leg kicks are money. Her body kicks are nice. The head kick is nice. The hands are good too. Clean 1-2 down the pipe. She's got a good jab. She's been getting a little bit more oomph to her punches, so it seems like she's working on the power a little bit. Her training at Fight Nerds seems to be a relatively good thing for her. The Wang Kang performance was rough. And against Ming Shi, like, it was a good win. It was on enemy territory. She had to fly across the world. So, and still got a 30-27. So I thought it was a pretty good look. She did get taken down, but like, Ketlen's not wrestling pretty much ever. And I don't think she's going to be taking down Bruna. So for me, I think I lean Bruna right now, but I need to come back to it and finish the tape. And then we'll see where we go from there. But I am going to lean her way. I'm not particularly high on either, though. So this fight, I had no idea this fight was even happening until like today. I just found out. I know Veretennikov was originally supposed to be on the card against this tall Brazilian fella. I forget his name. Souza, I think. And I guess now he gets Niko Price instead. So we have Nikolay Veretennikov, 13-7-0, 36 years old, 6'1" at the 74-inch reach. Niko Price on the other side, 16-9-0. He's 36 as well, which is crazy. He seems so much older. He's just had so many wars. And in fight years, he's like 97. He's 6 feet tall, so he's 1 inch shorter, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this one. I think Veretennikov should be able to put out Niko Price. Niko Price, I think, is done. I don't think he can take shots anymore. I don't think the durability is there. He's in those double knee sleeves usually, and like, he can be grappled. He's really not great anymore. He should retire. I can't believe he's still fighting. And Veretennikov, well, he's not great in his own right. He's still, I think he's a lot more durable at this stage of his career than Niko Price. I think he's quite durable. That's pretty clear. He's not the smartest fighter. I'll talk about that in a second. But he's really durable. He does hit hard. He is dangerous in the clinch. He is a good striker. He is a good counter grappler. He should be able to beat Niko Price. But my God, his fight IQ is some of the worst I've ever seen. I was on him against Bruna. I was. And you can't convince me that that wasn't a winnable fight for him. You can't convince me that it wasn't. He 100% could have won that fight. He was the better man on the feet, and he was able to keep it on the feet, except when he decided to go for guillotines. And how many times did he decide to go for guillotines? I think it was like 5 or 6. So it's like, dude, never again. And I meant it. I said never again, and I meant it. I'm never betting on him again. So I'm not gonna do it here. Maybe KO, depending on how they price it, because I do think that Niko doesn't really have anything to stop the threat of Veretennikov. Like you have to either be able to outstrike him, maintain your range, stay safe, or take him down. Most go the takedown route, but I don't think Niko at this stage of his career can wrestle most people, and I don't think he's going to be able to wrestle Nikolay. So I imagine Nikolay's just going to clinch him up and beat the crap out of him. And the clinch, he's really, really strong. He's got really good clinch knees, and he should be able to do it here. I wouldn't be shocked if he's beating on Niko Price, and then jumps guillotine. I have too many bad stories with those kinds of fighters, so I'm just not doing it. I do think he's going to knock out Niko. Maybe it'll be like a round 2 in the clinch kind of thing, but I'm good. I'm good. All right, moving on. We've got my guy, Danil Donchenko versus Alex Morono. Morono, 24, 12-0, 35 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach. Donchenko, 12, 2-0. He's 24, so he's 11 years younger. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach disadvantage. So I've been waiting years for us to have good Ukrainian MMA fighters, or rather UFC fighters. And up until the last year, we've had Denise Bondar. Sucked. We had that one fraud who faked his record, and then it was like something like 19-2, and then after Tapology was done with him, he was like 7-10, something. What was his name? I forget. And then we had the GOAT Igor Peteria, who just gone too soon. They didn't give him the chance. He would have been champ. They didn't want it. Dana knew he had to keep away his stars. He could not let Peteria get to Pereira, so he had to cut him. It's unfortunate, but it makes sense from a business perspective. And yeah, so I've been waiting for a long time for good Ukrainian fighters, and we finally got 2 at the same time. Unfortunately, they're in the same weight class, Amasov and Donchenko, but I'll take it. And Donchenko is a guy I really, really like. I'm really high on him. I think there's still things he needs to work on. I think he needs to make sure he doesn't fall for that hype, because if he continues to be overly aggressive, that's eventually going to cost him. I don't think that Alex Morono is going to be the one who's going to make him pay. But I do think that eventually it's going to be a problem. What Morono could do is, if Donchenko comes out here too hot, tries to get him out of here and isn't able to, and gasses himself in the process, Morono's the kind of guy who can come around then and take over late and win the fight. But personally, I don't think Donchenko's going to fight stupid. I think he's going to come out there. I think he's going to look to cause damage. I think Morono's days are mostly done in the UFC. I can't imagine him sticking around much longer. Even if he does get a win, like he's eventually going to get another fight and then lose that one, probably get knocked out. I think the durability is gone. He's never had great defense and kind of relied on being durable, being tough, being able to push a pace, and he's just not durable anymore. And I don't think just pushing a pace is going to be enough, because I don't really think Donchenko has pace problems or cardio problems. I think Donchenko can push a pace too. So for me, I think Donchenko's just going to come out there. I think he's going to run through him. I think he probably gets him out in round 1, maybe round 2. But I don't really see a way to play it. As much as I love him, I'm not going to parlay him at minus 600. Just not going to do that. Under 1.5, I think Glenbot pointed it out. It's probably solid, but I'm done with them. I've always said that I'm not good at 1.5s, and then I tried it out for Waldo versus Derek, and it didn't work. And then the finish, of course, happens 1 minute later. So I'm just going to leave them alone. I think one of the best things you can do in gambling is accept when there's a particular part of it that you're not good at, and just leave it alone. If I kept forcing it, that would be the problem. I wish there were more good Ukrainian. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Hopefully they keep it up. We've already got 2. Hopefully they keep going. Ukrainian badass tennis player banger David Alkherdiev back in LFA on Friday. Nice. Actually, I'm not familiar. It certainly doesn't sound like a Ukrainian name. David Verdiev. Cool. I'll check him out. Thanks for the shout there, Michael. He's not also a welterweight, is he? Okay, at least he's a middleweight. We need some other weight classes. Yeah, Danil by finish, I think so too. And yeah, unfortunately, not much to talk about here, so we're going to move on. We're up to the main card. We got about half the card left. All right. And I am trying to go faster, but as usual, when I say I'll go faster, I'm really not. I'm at 30 minutes halfway. So we're probably going to end up going an hour. I'm sick, so bear through it with me. And next up, we've got Dustin Jacoby versus Julius Walker. Dustin Jacoby, 21-9-1, 37 years old, 6'3" with the 76-inch reach. Walker, 7-1-0. He's 26. He's 11 years younger. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. So I'm seeing a lot of love for Walker. I'm seeing a lot of line movement for Walker, and there's a lot of money coming in on him. And pre-tape, I was thinking like Jacoby should really win this fight. And then post-tape, I'll be completely honest, I still think Jacoby really should win this fight. Like, I can imagine a world where Walker wins, but it would have to look really similar to what Menafield was doing against Jacoby, and I just don't know that he has the same power. Like, you can't give Jacoby a clean striking fight, right? We all know this, and I think anybody can accept that Julius Walker is not going to stand with Dustin. Like, he cannot. If he does that, if he just spends 15 minutes striking with Jacoby, he's gonna get knocked out. I don't think he's good enough of a striker. Julius Walker, he's a super nice dude, and I think he does have a long career ahead of him in the UFC and a high ceiling. He's really young, and he's a lot of fun, and he's down to fight all the time. It doesn't matter who. So I think we're going to see him in the UFC for a really, really long time, and he's going to get a lot of wins. It feels like this is probably a little bit too soon, in my opinion. Now, if he's going to win it, he's going to have to make it dirty. He's going to have to make it greasy. Like I said, he does not want to go with him for 15 minutes in the striking. I don't think so. So he's going to have to clinch, and he's going to have to go for the takedowns. But like, he is strong in the clinch. He's strong in the clinch. And he's got good clinch knees. But I've never seen Jacoby to be really that weak in the clinch either. And I've never really seen him get controlled for long periods of time. And I don't really think Walker's going to control him there for long periods of time. Or even if he is, I don't think he's going to score much doing it. And then Walker's a solid wrestler, but I think that's green too. I think he's still working on that also. And I don't really think his wrestling is that good to consistently take down Jacoby. I don't think his control is good enough to keep Jacoby there. I think Jacoby's takedown defense is actually really good. And off his back, yeah, he's not great, but like, Julius Walker isn't like some elite jiu-jitsu black belt who's just going to come out there and put him away or get in a dominant position, full mount, and ground and pound him. Like, I just don't think so. And the other problem is, this is my main problem. So Walker is not beating Jacoby in a 15-minute striking kickboxing fight, right? He has to make it dirty. He doesn't really have the cardio for it, right? Like, I know that he fights through it. And he is absolutely a dog, and he does fight through it. And even when he's tired and breathing heavy, he's still going. He still, gives his best effort. He's still, he was still trading with Menafield. He was still trying to go for takedowns. Against Sygula, my God, that third round was insane. They both hurt each other. Walker got hurt twice by Sygula. Sygula hurt him, but he gets exhausted. He gets really tired. I mean, I don't blame him. These are massive dudes that he's trying to clinch and throw down. It's just, it's going to come with his style. But I do think it's a problem because he has a very specific way he needs to win this fight, I think. And I don't know that he has the gas tank to do it. Whereas I do think Jacoby has the gas tank to deal with him all 15 minutes. I think Jacoby does have the takedown defense, and I think he's a much slicker striker. So before I am going to bring up one thing, but that personally for me, like, for those reasons, I do think Jacoby should get it done. Am I running to bet on him? No. And I'll explain why in a second. It's in the comments there, but I do think he should get it done personally. And I don't personally understand all the excitement about a dog shot here, but I get it. To an extent, I get it. Where's the comment? Here. So this is an issue. Oh, and this too. I mean, there have been all these Factory X scandals, so might want to just stay away for that reason, but I don't think... I'm going to assume that this is good. Everything is clean here. But this is the problem, right? Jacoby fresh off the Factory X private jet. So He was down in Australia. Yeah, Australia, and now he's flying back up. I forget who he was cornering. Who was he cornering again, Michael? I forget who it was, but regardless, he was down in Australia. Now he's flying back. That's an insane flight. And at the same time, he has to cut weight. And I'm assuming it's not an easy cut for him because he's a really big dude. So that is probably going to affect him. And maybe that does drain his cardio. Brundage, right? And maybe that will drain his cardio. Maybe that will make it more competitive. But it's not enough for me to get onto Walker. Walker tries really hard. Walker's tough. Walker's got a lot of heart. I love all those things about him. But I need more favorable matchups, and I don't think that this is a favorable matchup. Maybe it's a favorable timing and situation with Jacoby flying back, Jacoby 37. But I think this is a little bit too much too soon, personally. So for me, I'm going to go with Jacoby. I think decision, but honestly, I think he can knock him out in the third round, and I think he might knock him out in the third round, and that's going to be a prop I'm targeting. Just maybe going to be a little bit lighter on it because, again, Jacoby might have his own cardio issues this week with the whole flight situation. But all right, let me catch up with the chat. We got a lot of comments for this fight, and then we'll move on. Walker is nice, but low-key unreliable. I think he's just green. He's still a work in progress. Probably got to the UFC a little bit early because the light heavyweight division is empty, and he's going to have to learn on the job, and I think he will. I don't really want to be on him in this particular fight. So we talked about this, talked about the scandals, talked about the cardio. What else? But yeah, all right, we can move on. Next up, we've got Gene Matsumoto versus Farid Basharat. Matsumoto, he's going to be 17-1-0, 26 years old, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. Basharat, 14-0, he's undefeated. He's 28, he's 2 years older, he's 2 inches taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach advantage. So really good fight between two great prospects, but I think that the one who's going to walk away here with the W is Basharat. I think that he's just got the style to beat Matsumoto, and I think that's pretty clear. I thought that the fight with Miles Johns for Matsumoto was pretty arguable. I think I might have been on Johns. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I thought Johns could have gotten that decision, and I think Matsumoto is just still a work in progress. He's a good striker. He's a Muay Thai guy. He's primarily throwing leg kicks and a jab, but it does work for him. He does have a lot of power. He is dangerous in the pocket. He does go to the body pretty well, and the kicks are very good, especially those leg kicks, like I said. He can actually wrestle in his own right a little bit, but his takedown defense is not great. He could get stuck on his back, and what does he do that I hate very much? Jumps guillotine quite a bit, and I think that's if he does that, that would be really, really stupid. I imagine that he probably will do it at least once because he does it a lot. But I'm hoping for his sake that he doesn't do it too much because, like, why? And then on the Farid side, there's still some questions. Like round 3 against Gutierrez, he kind of randomly just started losing. It didn't seem like anything changed. It didn't seem like he got tired. Gutierrez did come out there with more urgency, sure, but it did seem like Farid was kind of just like off. I don't know what that was about, but for the most part, the guy's got great cardio. He's got really, really great grappling, and like his best aspect is his fight IQ. He's a very smart, intelligent fighter. He fights smart. He fights defensively sound. That's why he's not throwing a ton of volume because he's only throwing when he doesn't put himself out of position. But he's also not getting hit a lot. His defense is really, really good, whereas Matsumoto is pretty hittable. So, and he like his striking still a work in progress. He does come from a grappling background, but I do think that Basharat can compete in the striking here, if not just straight up win minutes too. Like his hands are good. I think his hands are almost just as good as Matsumoto's, if not as good. His kicks are pretty good too. I would prefer that he doesn't spin, but they're solid. But at the end of the day, it's his grappling that gets the job done for him. I think his win over Taylor Lapalus was by far his most impressive work. And even if he beats Matsumoto, still probably his most impressive work is that win. I think that his positional control is really good. I think that when he's on top, he's able to settle, he's able to do good damage, good ground and pound, threaten submissions. And yeah, I just think it's really going to come down to the grappling. I think Matsumoto doesn't have the tools to keep it on the feet. I think Basharat has a great ground game and a really good fight IQ to make the decisions to get it there. I think he can control where the fight takes place, and I think he can compete, and not only compete, but win on the feet as well. So for me, it's Farid. And we're going to move on. I am going to try to speed up because I am quite sick, and I'm starting to feel it a little bit, and I'm losing my train of thought. So I'm going to try to hurry it up a little bit. See what we got in the chat. Some of you guys went ahead are talking heavyweight. We're not there yet. JB telling me he's betting Nikolay and G sub parlay. I mean, Nikolay in no way is trolling me. If Nikolay finally gets his guillotine, God bless him, man. God bless him. But I won't be there. I'll tell you that much. I won't be there. All right. Next up, we've got Michal Alexeychuk versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Michal 21-9-0. He's 30 years old, 6 feet tall with a 74-inch reach. On the other side, Marc-Andre Barriault 17-10-0. He's 35. He's 5 years older. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have the same reach at 74 inches. So I actually went into this one thinking dog or pass at first, and I'm still not going to lay the chalk on Michal. I'm just not as excited on the dog. But I just feel like if MAB can come out here and survive the first round, is this not a 50-50 or close to a 50-50 fight? Where is Michal significantly better than MAB skill-wise? I don't think anywhere. I think the striking's really close. They're not similar strikers, but neither of them is outstanding. Michal just has a lot of power, a lot more power, whereas MAB just can put out sustained output. He'll mix in stuff like elbows, which I really like. But I do think that he can compete on the feet here with Michal. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's just a matter of if the chin holds up. It held up against Shara. Shara, not really much of a power guy. Michal does seem to hit a lot harder with the hands than Shara does. So I think that there is a good chance that Michal comes out here, swarms him early, gets him out of there, goes to the body a little bit, then to the head, and then puts him away. But if he doesn't and the fight gets extended, Michal doesn't have great cardio. Maybe that's changed now that he's at Fighting Nerds, but we don't know for sure. So he doesn't have great cardio. MAB does have good cardio. That's still, to this day, he still does. He's still very strong in the clinch. He still does good work there, good knees, good elbows, good short shots. And if he survives that first round and just starts wearing on Michal in the clinch, I don't see why MAB can't make this close. So I'm picking Michal KO1. But if MAB survives that first round, I might get involved live. Or if the line gets really crazy, maybe I'll put a half unit on him at some point. We shall see. Gillies for everyone, apparently. Oh, God. Okay. Gilly pull is meta. 3 gillies in a row. Crazy. Are you guys saying Michal's going to get a gilly too? I don't know if that's the best idea. But all right, moving on. We've got Jailton Almeida versus Rizvan Kuniev. Almeida, he's going to be 22-4-0, 34 years old, 6'3" with the 79-inch reach. Kuniev 13-3-1. He's 33. He's going to be 1 year younger. He's going to be 1 inch taller, and he's going to have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm sick. So, interesting fight. I know everybody hates Almeida. I'm not one of those people. I just want to preface this with that because I don't hate Almeida. I actually like Almeida, and I did think he won his last fight. But I can understand why people don't like him. He is really annoying. His striking. I've been waiting for years now for his striking to get better because he has always had a great grappling base, and he's always been a huge physical dude. He has all the gifts. So I was like, okay, he's already got the grappling. He's already got the size, the build. The second this guy puts together the striking, everybody's cooked. And then he never puts together the striking, and I don't think it's going to happen at this point. It's really just a jab and some big kicks, and that's really it. He's super hittable. He's super easy to counter, and he's extremely uncomfortable if he's left on the feet. Now, he's not usually left on the feet because he's shooting relentlessly nonstop. But when he's at range, he's not great. Whereas Kuniev's great. Kuniev's a really good striker. I really like his striking. I was on him against Curtis Blades. I thought he did enough, but it is what it is. But his hand speed is sick. He's got really nice boxing. When he gets you to the cage with your back to the fence, he does really good work. And I think he can put Almeida away easy on the feet. Maybe not easy, but he can put away Almeida definitely on the feet if he can keep it there. That's the big thing for all of Almeida's opponents. Can they keep it there? Volkov probably could have put Almeida away too if he could keep it there. But that's the big difference here between Kuniev and Volkov for me. Whereas Volkov, we all know, has never had great takedown defense, partially because he's so big and tall, and once you put him on his back, good luck getting up. But Kuniev's a pretty good counter grappler. I know that Blades got him down and controlled him a little bit. I get it. Maybe Almeida can do that too. Don't forget, Blades is literally I think credentials wise, the most credentialed wrestler in the heavyweight division right now. I don't think Hokit beats him out, but I'd have to actually go and look. But regardless, Kuniev getting taken down by Blades, I don't think that's a big deal. And he still was able to get back to his feet, and he was able to defend most of the takedowns. He got controlled in the clinch a little bit. That's a concern of mine a little bit, because Almeida could control him in the clinch, but Almeida doesn't do anything with it, you know? And if he's not doing anything with it, we see that the judges are finally not grading that kind of stuff. They're finally not scoring that kind of stuff. And if these two guys come out here and Almeida's landing takedowns and he's on top, or he's just in the clinch and he's just holding him there, but Kuniev was actually able to land nicely, maybe even hurt him a couple times when they separate, I think he's going to steal the minutes. I think he's going to, steal the moments, steal the rounds. So I'm going to go with Kuniev. I think he's actually going to find the chin, and we're going to go round 2. The Riz KO. Couch told me Kuniev should be minus 200. I never said such a thing. Javi, see, you're a French Canadian, so like your comedy is just all off. You're supposed to do this with like, you know, when you would do this like with like Niko Price. You would say, Couch told me that he max bet Niko Price and he should be minus 350. That's how you do it. If I said Kuniev should be minus 200, I mean, theoretically, you could maybe make an argument. Minus 200 is what? Is that 70%? I don't think you can really make an argument. 66%. I mean, nah. But either way, let's move on. Rizzler, round 2 KO lock. Well, now it's definitely not going to happen. Michael, you know how I feel about the lock word. All right, moving on. We got the co-main event. We got to hurry this up. My brain's not working. We got Amir Albazi versus Kyoji. There you go, Javi. Now you're learning. All right. We have Amir Albazi versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Albazi 17-2-0, 32 years old. 5'5" with a 68-inch reach. Horiguchi 35-5-0, 35 years old. He's 3 years older. He's going to be, I don't think he's the same height. I think he's at least an inch or two shorter. And he's going to have a 3-inch reach disadvantage. I will say, like, this line's probably a little wide. And I think a lot of it is just hype off of Horiguchi. But, like, I feel like I'm still fine with playing Horiguchi in a parlay or something. Because here's my thing with Albazi. First of all, I used to think he was like the dark horse of the division. I used to think super highly of him, but I think he ended up kind of being a little bit of a dud in terms of top 5 potential. Top 15, sure. He's a solid flyweight. He's a great grappler, solid wrestling, good control, good jiu-jitsu, decent striking, but I don't think he's anywhere near top 5. And the other major issue with him and why I'm comfortable with Kyoji, even though I think hype is really inflating the line, is that his body is like really messed up. I have it in my notes. I don't have my notes open for the show, so I don't have it off the top of my head. But he had like 2 separate really bad injuries. I think one of them was his neck, and the other one was like maybe his back or his shoulder or something, or knee maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head. I've been looking at a lot of fight stuff today, but he's had really bad injuries. I saw like one quote. Apparently a doctor said like one more punch and he could have been paralyzed. Like obviously that's an exaggeration, but they're trying to say like it was really, really bad, and it's a good thing that he got help when he did. And I don't know if he's going to be any better. Like he didn't look great at all in the Moreno fight. Like you got to give Moreno credit to an extent. Moreno looked good there, but I think Albazi also just looked particularly bad. He looks really uncomfortable on the feet. He looks like he's not reacting well to shots. And even before then, you know, like in the Kai France fight over 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, his strength is the grappling. Kai France struggles with grapplers. That was an absolute robbery. He barely took KKF down. He had to take his back to control him out. Otherwise, he could not do it. And good luck with Kyoji. I don't think he's going to be able to comfortably take his back. Kyoji can be taken down. He can be controlled. It's happened to him before. Even, what's his name? Last fight out was able to do it to Gear. So Amir could take him down. I don't think that's out of the question. I just don't really think he's going to do a lot with it. I don't think he can really keep Kyoji there. I think Kyoji has a really good scramble ability. He pops back up really quickly. And I think if anything, Kyoji can land his own takedowns too. Nobody really tries that on Albazi, but I think Horiguchi probably will try it, and I think he can do it. He's a great offensive wrestler, and he's got very good jiu-jitsu in his own right. They both do. And then in the striking, I just like Kyoji a lot more. I think he's a lot faster. He's 35 years old, and yet he's still the way faster guy. Super explosive in and out movement. He's really hard to find. It's hard to really get a read on him because he's just popping in and out. He can get in, land on you, get out before you can even react. And he's got some power to him, too. He's got good power. He's got even the jab has oomph to it, but the follow-up right hand has a ton of power. His kicks are really nice. Those leg kicks are nasty. I think the leg kicks are going to be a nightmare for Albazi. And if he starts to go to those early, it's going to be even harder for Albazi to find him and get those takedowns going. So I personally think that Kyoji is going to put on a clinic. I think there's a world where Albazi does make this close. And if he's fully healthy, I think it's a winnable fight for him. I think this line is a little bit much, but realistically, I think Kyoji gets it done. And I think he gets it done at a high clip. And I did see a comment. Ken is Gucci KO live. So I was thinking about playing. Originally, I was thinking Kyoji decision. And then after watching the fights and like thinking about all the injuries from Albazi, like I feel like Kyoji could finish him. I do. I think he could possibly knock him out. And I think he could possibly club and sub him. So that's why I ended up leaving the decision alone. I'm not going to do that just because I don't know what state Amir Albazi's body is in. But I am going to pick officially Haraguchi decision. Did I pick pretty much all decisions? I think I did. Oh, well. All right, let's catch up with the chat. I see somebody very aggressive. Don't we love those? Lock Dog winning. Well, thanks for ruining it for me because I like Lock Dog and the way you're talking. Oh, yeah, we're screwed. See, when guys talk like this, the person that they're hyping up always loses, literally always, which sucks because I'm about to tell you guys why I think Vinicius is going to win. But when people talk like this, never ends well. Never ends well. You should certainly reconsider yourself. Strongly disagree with this too. I don't think he's a bad fighter. He's just not going to be champion, but he's not a bad fighter by any means. But okay. Moving on, we've got Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira. Mario Bautista, he's going to be 16-3-0, 32 years old, 5'9" at the 69-inch reach. Oliveira, 23-3-0. He's 30. He's 2 years younger. He's going to be the same height, and he's going to have a 1-inch reach advantage. So I was about to pitch Oliveira, but now that guy in the comments kind of ruined it for me. I feel like he just jinxed it pretty aggressively, too. Like, he did it with his whole chest. So he might be on Bautista, and he might be setting me up. But pretending that guy didn't do that, we're going to break this down. And I am going to be going with Oliveira. I'll preface this with saying that obviously the 5 rounds favors Mario. And obviously, if this gets extended, it's going to get greasy. It's not like this fight's not going to be pretty no matter how it plays out outside of like an Oliveira early KO. Like outside of that, no matter who wins, how they win, I think it's going to be greasy. And there is a world where I look absolutely stupid for this. And Oliveira comes out there, has a great 1 or 2 rounds, and then just completely falls apart. Maybe similar like an Abus versus Sean Strickland. But like Oliveira is not Abus. He doesn't fall apart like that. And he does fight through the tiredness. Like he gets tired, sure, but he doesn't really fall apart. He got that 3rd round knockout against Sopaj when he needed it. He looked solid. I thought he looked good in 3rd round against Saeed. He was good in the 3rd round against what's his face? What was it? Kyler. Like he looks tired, but he's still coming out there and he's still throwing hard. He's still pressuring, and even landing takedowns at times. So his cardio is weird. I think it's no argument that the 5 rounds favors Mario, but let's not forget we've never seen Mario go 5 either. We have seen Mario slow down slightly. And when was the last time anybody really pushed the pace on him the way Oliveira is going to? So it's entirely possible that Oliveira gasses out, but I think it's also relatively possible that because of Oliveira's style and the way he fights, Bautista might get tired too. I think that's on the table as well. And one other thing I want to mention is the last time Bautista fought a like pure striker, because it's been mostly grapplers, Umar, Patchy, was a Jose Aldo, and it was an aged Jose Aldo, and he was getting cooked on the feet. You know, he was very uncomfortable on the feet, and he had to clinch. He had to clinch to kind of get him to stop hitting him. And he won that way, and it was an arguable decision as it was. Like I felt Aldo won. I also had Aldo. I had money on Aldo there, so I'm biased. But that was the last time he fought a striker, and then before then again, grapplers. So, And before then, the competition level was pretty low. So he hasn't really fought a striker in a while. It was Jose Aldo. And is Bautista going to be able to clinch Oliveira like he did against Aldo? I don't really think so. Oliveira is not 40 years old. He's fresh. I know he's had a lot of fights, but the dude is fresh and he's very strong and he's very physical. Maybe once he's tired, Bautista can clinch him a little bit. And it's probably in his best interest to clinch early and often to start to wear on Oliveira and get him to slow down. But I don't think it's going to be easy to do that. And at range, Bautista's probably more technical. He's definitely the more technical striker. He throws a lot of output too. He's got good combinations. Everything's clean, straight down the pipe. He's got nice kicks, good body work, good body kicks, good leg kicks, and the output is great. He makes good reads. His defense is good. He's a great striker, but Vinicius is so hard to deal with, and he's so he's nuts. He's a madman. He's like a bantamweight Gene Silva. He's crazy. He's coming out there. He's got his hands just down by his sides. He's getting punched in the face. It would be great if he didn't do that because he's been knocked out before doing stuff like that. Taleb is an example. But I don't know that Mario Bautista is going to have the power to take advantage of that. So he's probably going to do it again. He's probably going to have his hands low. He's going to be coming down. He's going to be throwing from awkward angles. I do like his striking. I think he's got a lot of power. He's got good kicks. And I think he is going to give Bautista a lot of issues because it's just not something that Bautista's ever dealt with, whereas Oliveira's faced similar fighters, maybe nobody of his caliber, of Bautista's caliber, at least on the UFC. But I do think that it's also a unique challenge for Bautista that Bautista hasn't really seen yet. Now, one way to beat Oliveira that we've seen in the past, work to an extent is the grappling. If you can take the guy down, you can kind of get him to stop pressuring you and stop throwing heat in your face. If you can take him down and do that, that's a way to beat him. But it's really hard to control him and without getting exhausted in your own right. Look at what happened to Sopaj. And Bautista doesn't have great control. He's a solid wrestler, but he's not an amazing wrestler. And he's got solid jiu-jitsu, but he's not like Charles Oliveira down there. So I just think it's not going to be easy for him to control Oliveira, no matter where it is that he's trying to control him, whether he's trying to control him in the clinch, whether he's trying to control him on the ground. I just don't think it's going to be easy. So for me, I think it's a pretty close fight. I think that if this was a 3-rounder, it would have to be way closer to pick him. Otherwise, this line would be 100% a bet in a 3-rounder. In a 5-rounder, you do add a whole thing that is very concerning. Oliveira's style doesn't seem to be great for 5 rounds. But there's a chance he doesn't need it. And there's also a chance he's able to push through. Because if I had only seen this guy fight, like let's say before the UFC, he only had fights where he finished all of them in the first round. If I saw his style in the first round, I would have sworn to you that he could not survive a second and third. And look at him. He does it. So maybe he could do a 4th and 5th. We won't know till he tries it if they end up getting there. But I also do think that the small cage really favors him also. I did say I talk about it a lot this card, and this is a big one too. I think Bautista needs the cage a little bit for the movement because of the way this matchup is. And I think the small cage is really going to benefit Vinicius. So that's what I'm going with. We're going with Oliveira. The method, I don't know. That's the thing. Decision requires surviving 4 and 5. KO requires knocking out a tough dude, but Bautista's been knocked out before. I know it was just once, but I do think Vinicius can catch him too. Let's go 2. Let's say he breaks him. I really hope this dude stops, though, this guy in the comments, because if Oliveira loses, we all know why now, okay? Bum will try to take that off. So take his dog. Okay. Do you think Bautista can jump on the back and ride out rounds that way? Maybe. He's got a decent back take. I don't see why not. But, like, do you want to rely on that on a minus 190? How likely do you think it is that Oliveira wins a 5-round decision here? It really depends, dude. I don't think you can really say. It depends how the first 3 rounds go, right? At the end of the day, this is still 3 rounds first. If he banks those, then he should be okay. And like I said, I can't tell you for sure because I've never seen him in a 5-rounder, but had I seen Oliveira only fight 1 round before and I saw his style, I would tell you he can't fight 3, and he can fight 3. He looks a little tired doing it, but he can, and he can win 3rd round. So I'm not ready to sit here and say for sure he cannot win round 4. He for sure cannot win round 5. So anyone saying for sure, then they're kind of lying because there's no way to know. We've never seen it from either fighter, 4 or 5. So that's where I'm at. But this guy's making me think that Oliveira is going to lose now because he's doing everything he can to jinx it. And that's it, guys. That's UFC Vegas 113. I'm going to run through the picks one more time, and then we're going to get out of here. Let's pull up the last few comments. Javid saying it's hard for him to say as well. Talking about Bautista, I think he's talking about. Like Blackshear, I'm assuming. Apex is bigger now, more fans. Maybe Oliveira's Ape style gets to pop and wins more rounds. Honestly, I don't think he needs the fans. Like, I do think he's going to win rounds. Yeah, Bautista's a good minute winner, but Oliveira's a pretty good minute winner too. He's not just a moments guy. Like, he's putting stuff together, you know? So, going to be an interesting fight. Really interesting main event. Appreciate you, Gunbot. All right, so the picks one more time. We're going to go Sygula, slight lean, 0 confidence. Gafurov, pre-tape, Wang. Javid, super low confidence. Bruna, for now, have to finish still the tape there. Nikolay, Danil, Jacoby, Farid, Oleg, Rizvan, Kyoji, and Oliveira. That's where I'm at. Thank you, guys. Peace out, and good luck this weekend.